This week on Cooking with Kevin, Chef Kevin has to use 5 mystery ingredients in a chopped edition of Cooking with Kevin, using mushrooms, tomatillos, chicken, and all types of different vegetables to make a creamy chicken and rice soup, lightly seasoned with herbs.
And welcome back to yet another episode of Cooking with Kevin. As you can see, I'm doing baseball garb. It's spring training, baseball's back, and we have an exciting new addition to the show. We're doing our own version of Chopped, and the production staff has chosen 5 mystery ingredients that I have yet to see that I will have to incorporate into my dish, and I have 30 minutes to do so. So this is going to be very exciting. And as you can see, we're in a different locale. This is one of our alternate kitchens, also here in Salem, that we're really excited to have the opportunity to use. So let's go ahead and take a look in the mystery bag. All right. Oh, so we got cream cheese. We got a banana. A fresh mushroom. Ooh, a tomatillo. These are delicious, especially for salsa. And, oh, pineapple. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I need to come up with a delicious dish and incorporate chicken as well as all of these different items in it. I'm thinking, looking at this, I'm going to do a Santa Fe inspired chicken and rice soup. So let's go to commercial, and when you come back, I'll be ready to start doing this. Welcome back. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to prep the vegetables and the fruit and make a delicious soup here. All right, so I've already peeled and cut the carrots, and I'm just going to slice them straight up and down. You don't want them too thick because you want it to be able to cook pretty quick. You can do 2 to 3 carrots depending on the size. Alright, I'm going to throw in some potatoes as well. Kind of make this a hearty soup. With the potatoes though, I'm going to cut straight down the center. So as always, I got all my meat and my produce from Roth's Fresh Markets. Freshest place to get it in town. And I'm just gonna keep doing little slices. I like my potatoes to be bigger in the soups because otherwise they dissolve too quickly and it becomes like a mush. You want it that way in a stew more than a soup. At least I do. So there we go. I think I'll cut those down just a little bit. And then we're gonna just cut the celery. Celery you want a little bit larger because you do want to crunch. So I'm gonna do it, about an inch or so in thickness. So, and I think that will add a nice crunch and color to the soup as well. Okay. All right. I'm going to throw in some spinach too. This spinach I won't add until later in the process because the spinach does cook pretty quickly and it will get limp. But this will add some nice calcium to the soup. All right, finally the mushroom here. So I always cut the stem off and some of the outer peel. Of course, I've rinsed all of these. You want to rinse your produce. All right, I'm just going to do a nice slice down. Not too thick. So the thicker it is, the more rubbery it's going to be as it cooks. All right, and then I think I'm actually going to dice these up nicely here. I'll move the potatoes so you can see. There we go. So just little pieces, enough to give some flavor to the soup, but not be overbearing. Some people don't like mushrooms. So if you need to have them in, which in my case you do, because it's one of the mystery items, if the smaller, the better. People won't notice as much. All right, and then the tomatillo. For those of you that don't know it, it's widely used in salsas, like green salsa. It's in the pepper family, but it has some tomato characteristics to it as well. So what I did was originally I took off the outer peel, which is almost like a leaf-like. Okay. I'm gonna cut it into quarters here. This will add a nice little peppery flavor. I'm going to leave these kind of in chunks, and I'll actually, when we come back from the break, I'll actually put it in with the hot butter and the chicken to give some flavor. All right, so I'm going to prep the onion, but while I'm doing this, let's send it to break. Julie, what do you have for us?
Hi, I'm here to help you in case you have made a soup that is either too salty or too spicy. So let's start with the salty. The best thing you can do is probably not to let it get too salty in the first place. It's a lot easier to prevent than to have it too salty. So my tip on that is don't season until the very end, and always put just a little bit less than you think. Even if the recipe calls for a teaspoon of salt, maybe put in a half a teaspoon and then just let it kind of sit for a while and then try it again, because about 30 minutes after you turn the heat off, that is going to be the true flavor of the saltiness. Now, if it is too salty, the best thing to do is probably dilute, and that's easier if it's a water-based soup. And if it's not, then what you want to do is add some starch to it, such as rice or noodles or potatoes, and they'll help absorb the salt. Some people like to put in like a half, take a whole potato and cut it in half and put a couple of those in, and they let it absorb the salt, and then they take out the potatoes. They don't eat it, they just toss them or just maybe use them in a different recipe. And of course, any of those starch items will also absorb water, which also helps to reduce the salt. Sometimes if it's just mildly salty, surprisingly, just putting a little bit of vinegar or lemon in it help distract the tongue, so that helps. So what about if it's too spicy? If it's too spicy, what you can do is, if it's a cream-based item, add sour cream. Dairy products have a cooling effect. Now, you can add a little bit of citrus juice, such as lemon juice or lime, to the soup. But I caution you, if it is a dairy-based soup, then it will curdle. So that's not an option for that. And here was one of the most surprising tips that I read. If it is too spicy, to add not chunked pineapple, but crushed pineapple. And that helps counteract the spiciness. And because it's crushed, it shouldn't affect the flavor and the texture very much. So those are my tips. Hope it helps. And bon appetit.
And welcome back. All right, I got everything done. We're going to move now right over to this island here, where I have a pan warming up with hot butter that I'm going to now put the chicken and the vegetables in to saute them. All right, so I'm going to cut the chicken into little chunks. You don't want it too small, so you do want some substance when it cooks down. Now I've decided for the banana and the pineapple, I'm going to mash the banana up and add some of the crushed pineapple to it and make a sweet, tropical type sauce that I'll put in the soup to add a little bit of a sweet tang to it. All right, almost got it all. What I chose to do is I chose to do chicken tenders rather than the full-on breast. A little bit easier to handle and quick cooking too. I'm going to wash my hands real quick. And I'll get this out of the way here. Okay, so we're gonna get this cooking, add some of the vegetables here, namely the onion and the carrot at this stage. And then I'll let that cook, and then we'll add the tomatillo and the mushrooms here pretty quick. Grab the tomatillo and the mushrooms. The celery and the spinach will hang on to, and the potatoes, until it's put in with the broth. We'll let it cook that way. I'm also at this stage going to add some garlic. You can do freshly pressed. I prefer just to do it right out of the jar. Just want a little spoonful. Okay. Then I'll make that banana pineapple puree. So I'm going to pour in a little bit of the juice as well as the crushed pineapple. I'm taking about a quarter of a banana. Pour it here. You want to make sure the banana is nice and pressed in here. There's a nice tropical smell to it. So it will thicken up with the banana being added. And we'll now add this in here. This is going to be good. Hopefully. Cross my fingers. Okay, while this finishes cooking, let's send it away to Brenna's segment. Brenna?
Hey guys, it's Brenna again. I thought today, since Kevin is making some delicious soup, we should talk about how to make soups, specifically the bases. So there's all types of soups. We make them hot, we make them cold. Cold would be like gazpacho. It's really great for summertime eats. But we're gonna stick closer to the hots. So for me, there's roux. You can have a creamy soup with a roux. It's really nice. It's basically just oil and flour, and you kind of brown that up to make this nice bold base. So why we make bases to soups is for flavor. Flavor is really important to build and create a body for your dishes. So for me, one of my favorite soups, which you may remember from last season, was the zuppa soup. Remember how we added onions and garlic and a whole bunch of seasonings in and browned out the bottom of the pan? That was to create this delicious base. So that's another way you can do it. You can brown out your pans and use like a wine or a vinegar to kind of get all that down before adding broth. Broth is really important too. Broth is not just something you want to pick up in a can at the supermarket. You want something that's full of flavor and had time to cook so it could get all of that flavor from the meat that was used. So for me, I personally make stock at home. I'll take a whole chicken, stick it in a pot, put my favorite vegetables in there, some peppercorns and a bay leaf, and cook that overnight, which is just right for me. And then I strain that all out and I have the best soups because of that. So take the time, use your creativity, and just add the things you like to your soup, because that's how you find out what works best for you. Back to you, Kevin. Have a good one.
And welcome back. So now we have this perfectly cooked and the chicken's starting to fall apart, so it's just right. So I'm going to add the block of cream cheese. And you'll have to kind of break it up. I have this kind of sitting out to get to room temperature, so it's a lot easier that way to mix. And then once it hits the heat, it will start to liquefy. This will add the creaminess to the chicken and rice soup. So you want to make sure it gets broken down and coats all of the chicken and carrots. Carrot. Here we go. It's looking good. So once this has coated and the cream cheese is warm, we'll transfer it into a larger pan that's deep like this, because it's going to be your main soup pan. And we'll add water, we'll add some broth and bouillon, as well as the spinach and celery and potatoes and the rice. Alright, so as you can see there, it's completely coated and white and delicious looking. Like I could eat that right now. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll transfer this now. Turn that off. Over here. Good. Now I have 2 cups of water. Just a small scoop will do. And we'll mix this together here. And we'll simmer it on about low medium. Alright, so while we let this start to simmer, we'll send it to break for the cooking trivia. And welcome back. So while you were gone, it's come to a boil. I added a 32-ounce turkey broth container to it. It was what I had available in the kitchen. Just like on the Chop Show, do what it's available to you. I felt like it adds to it. It's still in the poultry family. So now we are going to add the spinach and the potatoes and the celery that I cut earlier. Try to get more of the leaves than the stems. That's where all the calcium is. And now we'll get the potatoes here. And the celery. All right. So at this point, I'm going to add two, oh my goodness gracious, mess on set. We're going to add 2 more cups of water. And now we'll bring this to a boil. So while this is boiling, we'll send it away to Tim's segment.
Well, hello fans, welcome to another exciting episode of In the Know with Tim. Today I'll be talking about rice, different types of styles, different places that use rice, and just my favorite type of rice that I like to eat. So, moving on to Asia. You know, well, everyone probably knows this fact, but if not, Asia is the most place of rice produces and consumes 90% of the world rice production. That's a lot of rice in one. Well, I guess Asia is really big, one of the biggest continents in the world, so I can see why it's 90% of the world's produce of rice. Chopsticks. Everyone likes, Chinese, Japanese, with chopsticks, which, it's very hard. It's talent. If you have that talent, try out for America's Got Talent by eating chopsticks. You might win the whole thing. You never know. I know I am never that good at chopsticks, but it's really, it's nice, delicate eating, and you get nice, smaller portions, so you don't eat a lot either. So if you're looking for a nice little diet to incorporate, and try a rice diet with chopsticks, you will consume less, and so you fill it up faster, because rice does fill you up a lot faster than a normal other, like eating vegetables and whatnot. Rice does fill you up a lot faster. It's a great energy source. It's rich in carbohydrates, which is needed for your brain to function properly. So that's another plus for eating rice. Rice is also known as the oldest food that is still widely consumed today. So it's been around for decades upon decades. One of the first food productions. Japanese rice is also the staple food for eating in Japan. Very small grain types are eaten. They're a base for sushi. So, I recently just tried sushi for the first time, and it was, a lot more rice base rolled up in a wrap filled with whatever you had inside of your rice. So it's just very good consumption of probably good protein. It's just good for your diet. It's good for your system. And my favorite place to have rice is Love Teriyaki with the rice bowls. You can make a stir fry at home, quick and easy. It's one of those things you can quick, like 10-15 minutes. You have a nice big pot of rice at home. So next time, just try mixing it up. Try some rice Just think, you know, if you go to Japan or anywhere in the Asia continents, you'll have, you know, you'll be able to get used to eating those chopsticks at home and impress all those European, Asian people when you go around the world. Have a great rest of the episode with Kevin and enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good day.
Alright, welcome back. So, it came to a boil. I put it down to low heat to allow it to simmer. We're going to add the rice now. This is instant rice, about a cup and a half, somewhere in there. And I'll mix it in real good and return it to boil again. And then I'm going to actually put in a pesto seasoning blend that I found. It has basil, garlic, and parsley in it. I'm just going to put a few good shakes of that. And then we'll throw in some oregano. And I think a dash of sage would be good in there. Alright. Then do some salt and pepper. Now remember, there's going to be sodium naturally from the bouillon as well as the broth, so you don't have to put too much salt in. And remember what I taught you in season 1, do the smell test. Can I tell you if it's seasoned right? I think it has a nice smell to it. So what we're going to do now is it's returned to a boil. So I'm going to return it back to low and put a top on. And we'll let this simmer for another 20 minutes or until the rice is tender and the potatoes. Alright, here's the trivia answer. Alright, did you get it right? I hope so. I've been trying to teach you well these last couple seasons. Alright, so this is ready now. Okay, so this is my favorite part of the show, the presentation. Alright, so I'll bring this over. There it is. A Santa Fe style creamy chicken and rice soup. And I hope that you're able to try this at home. It actually turned out pretty good. And as always, keep cooking with Kevin.